So here we have the program for multiplication of two 8-bit numbers. So once you have written the program, you're supposed to save it, then add it to the project, and then translate it and build the files, right? Once you have built the files, you can go to debug and start debugging. That's okay. So now this is in debug mode, right? Here you are supposed to multiply two numbers at 20h and 21h. So we will give our numbers at 20 and 21. So we will take some random numbers. So 54 multiplied by 76. Okay. So if I see in the calci, if you multiply 54 into 76 in hexadecimal, it should give me 26B8. Okay, the answer is 26B8. We will see the execution of this step-by-step execution. So the first line, you have move R0 comma hash 20h. It will load the contents, I mean the 20h, immediate data 20h into register R0. Register R0 is now 00. When I execute this instruction, register R0 will be 20, right? Next, a comma at R0. At R0 means what is there in 20h? 54. That should be copied into my accumulator. My accumulator is having 0 now. When you run it, accumulator will become 54. Next, increment R0. R0 is 20. When you increment, R0 will become 21. It is pointing here, right? So move B comma at R0. 76 should be copied into register B. So now my register B is 0. When I run it, register B becomes 76. Is it visible? Okay. Next, you are going to multiply. When you multiply, the product will be stored in A and B. Lower byte of the product will be stored in A. Upper byte of the product will be stored in B. So when you multiply this, you're supposed to get 26B8. So B8 is the lower byte of the product. 26 is the upper byte of the product. So B8 will be stored in accumulator. 26 will be stored in register B. Okay, yeah. You can see B8 is stored in A, 26 is stored in register B. Then you are incrementing R0 for the result. Result should be stored here. Incrementing R0. R0 is 21. If I go or execute the next step, R0 will become 22. So then move at a R0 comma A. That R0 means it will copy in the 22h. 22h is here. So contents of A is copied here. So this B8 will be copied into 22h. Okay. So if I execute it, B8 will be occupying this place. Next, increment R0 to point to the next location to store the next byte of the result. Move at R0 comma B. Right, move at R0 comma B. B is 26. 26 will be loaded here. That's the next part, right? B8 and 26 will be loaded here. So this is the way we execute a program of multiplication. So I'll stop debug session. So next, the same program I can write for division. Instead of multiply, I have divide, right? Just all things are same. I will save it as division. Sorry, division dot ASM. Okay, so this is the program for division now. So I will remove this old file and add the division file. Right click, add existing files. So select division. So the division file is added to this group. Then to translate and build. Then go to debug. Okay, this is the debug session. Yeah, what happens is we will take two numbers. What numbers we had taken yesterday? 45 and 2, right? Okay. So the quotient will be 22, remainder will be 1, right? Quotient will be 22, remainder will be 1. So if I execute it step by step, first, move R0, comma 20, hash 20H is copied. Then move A, comma at R0. At R0 means 45 will be copied into A. Move, increment R0. R0 will be 21. Next move B, comma at R0. B is 2 because at R0 is 21H. There you have 2. 2 is copied into B. Divide AB. When you divide AB, A is divided by B and quotient is stored in A, remainder will be stored in B. Now quotient will be 22. 22 should be stored in, okay, it's divide actually. 22 should be stored in A, 1 will be stored in, right? 22 is stored in A, 1 is stored in B. So when I run the, I have to store the quotient and remainder in the next memory location. So I have to increment R0 to point to the next memory location. R0 is 22 now. Then yeah, quotient I'm storing here 22. Then again increment for the next location. Then remainder is in B, that will be copied into the next byte, right? This is the way we can store the quotient and remainder in the memory location. Okay, so that's about the division program. So these things, they're all 8-bit instant or operations on 8-bit data. Suppose you want to operate on 16-bit data. Okay, suppose you want to perform or add two 16-bit numbers. In that case, it will be very lengthy or difficult to use this indirect addressing mode because for each number you have to increment twice each number. So it will be very lengthy if you use indirect addressing mode. So what I will do is I will use direct addressing mode. You can try for indirect addressing mode anyway, just on the same lines of what you have written the 8-bit program, but it will be multiplied by 2. Number of lines will be just multiplied by 2. That's all. Okay. So what you have there is, 1 second. Yeah. So if you have, so suppose you are asked to find the sum of two numbers which are 16-bit numbers which are saved in two locations. So at 20H, okay, suppose you have two numbers at 20H and 21H. Then at 22H and 23H. So there are two numbers. Why we have two locations is the numbers, for example, if the numbers are, suppose the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. You are supposed to add these two numbers. Okay, so it is a 16-bit number, right? It is a 16-bit number. This is also a 16-bit number. If it is in hexadecimal, right, it is 16-bit number. So how this is stored in the memory? 1, 2, 3, 4. The lower byte is stored in the lower memory address. Upper byte is stored in the higher memory address. So this is one number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the number 1, 2, 3, 4. It is stored in two memory locations because each memory location can hold only one byte. Okay. The next number is 5678. This is stored in the next memory location. Out of this, the lower byte is 78. 78 is stored in one memory location. Then 56 is stored in the next memory location. Okay, so this is the way it is stored. Now the sum you are supposed to store in the next memory location after this, that is at 24H and 25H. Okay, So how can you perform addition and write the sum? So what we have in 8051 is all the instructions can operate only on 8-bit data. At a time, it can operate only on 8-bit data. So if you want to add a 16-bit number, you need to divide that division, you need to divide that process of addition into operations of 8-bit wide. So how can you add 16-bit number using 8-bit addition? So this 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually 2 bytes. One is 1, 2, the other one is 3, 4, right? Similarly, 5, 6, 7, 8 is actually 2 bytes. So one is 1, 2, the other one is 3, 4. So how you can add these two numbers? So what you can do is, first you will add only the lower bytes of both the numbers, right? First you add only the lower bytes of both the numbers, that is you add 34 and 78. Okay, that means this is present at 20H, this is present at 22H. Okay, 34 and 78. Then you take the sum. Then suppose if there is a carry, you add these two numbers along with that carry. Okay, these two numbers are added along with that carry and you get the sum. So this two together will give the sum of the 16-bit number, right? Now suppose there is a carry further, that will be indicated in the carry flag. Okay, so if you want to take it in another memory location, you can take it anyway. You can also include the carry in the next memory location if you want everything to be in the memory locations. So how you can write a program for this? So our numbers, they are at 20H. One number is at 20H. When I say 20H, when you say a 16-bit number is stored in 20H, that means the number occupies 20H and 21H, two memory locations. Okay. Similarly, the second number is at 22H. So when I say a 16-bit number is at 22H, it occupies two memory locations, 22H and 23H. So if I want to add these two numbers, I have to take, okay, first I have to get this number in my accumulator. How to get this? Okay, I can use indirect addressing mode or I can use direct addressing mode. I will show you using both. Okay, see, if I use indirect addressing mode, just like we have done for that case. Okay, so what I have to do is move R0 comma hash 20H. Then I have to take move A comma at R0, right? So this will copy the contents of 20H into A. Now I have 34 in A. In this example, I have this number in A. Now I have to add this number not with the contents of 21H, but with the contents of 22H, right? I have to add it with the contents of 22H. So I have to write increment R0 twice. Okay, I have to write increment R0 twice. So this is why I said it will increase the lines of the program, because if you increment it twice, again you have to come back to get the next byte. You need to decrement and come back. So it will actually become a lengthy process. That's why we will do it using direct addressing itself to avoid this going forward and coming back again. It might confuse you while doing it. Okay. So here, I can explain, but in exam while writing, it will be difficult for you to trace it, like where you exactly are. So what we will do is, we will just use direct addressing mode and write move A comma 20H. So this will copy the first number, lower byte of the first number in A. Then I have to add this lower byte of the first number with the lower byte of the second number. My lower byte of the second number is at 22H. So I can use add A comma 22H, right? So this will add the contents of 20H with 22H. Is it right? Yes. Then where is the sum? The sum is stored in A itself, right? The sum is stored in A. I have to move that sum. I have to move that sum into 24H. I have to move that sum into 24H. Move 24H comma A. So now you have got the lower byte of the sum. These two have been added and you have got that thing. Okay. So what will be that sum now? Let us try and add it. 34 plus 78 will give you AC. Okay. So the answer will be AC. We will try that when we execute. It should be AC. It is occupied here and it is loaded into this particular memory location. From A, it is copied to this particular memory location. Then you need to add the upper bytes also. Suppose there was a carry, along with carry, you have to add that upper byte. In this case, there is no carry, but still there is a chance that there can be a carry generated out of this, right? So in that case, now you have to add contents of 21H and 23H. This 12 is there in 21H, then 56 is there in 23H. So I have to do the same thing, right? But for different memory location. So A comma 21H, then add A comma 23H. So this will add the upper bytes of both the numbers. And while doing that, you have to take care of the carry also. That's why instead of just add, you need to add with carry. Okay, add with carry A comma 23H. So if at all there was a carry, it will be added along with the numbers 12 and 56 in this case. So the sum is there in accumulator. I have to copy it to 25H, right? The sum has to be copied to 25H. So I can write move 25H, comma A. So this will copy the sum of 12 plus 56 plus carry if it was there. There is no carry. 12 plus 56 will give you 68. So this will be 68. That will be copied in 25. Now suppose there was a carry. Okay, suppose there was a carry. We are supposed to add that in. You are supposed to store that in the next location. So how to do that? Same thing like you have done in the previous case. You clear your register A, then add with the carry A comma hash 0H, right? If at all there was a carry, it will be now it will be there in accumulator. From accumulator, you copy that to 26, right? From accumulator, you copy that to 26. So this is the program, we have for adding two 16-bit numbers which are in successive memory locations. Yeah, we have cleared. We have cleared, right? We have cleared A, and then we are proceeding. Yes. Before moving the next data here, no, not required, because when you move the next data, A will be cleared automatically. Previous value will be replaced. Okay, previous value will be replaced. No need of clearing A. When you move A comma, when you write move A comma 21H, whatever value was there in A, it will be replaced. Okay, so let me copy this in my program. Let me create a new file, write this program. Okay, let me save it as end. Save it as addition of 16-bit numbers, not A. Okay, then what we are supposed to do, let me remove the old file, add this file. Okay. Once we have this file, translate to find any errors. There are no errors, no warnings. It's built, debug. So yeah, I'll just run it because the steps directly. If I run it, okay, I have to give the numbers, right? I cannot just run it. Sorry. I have to give the numbers. What are the numbers we took? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 means 1, 2 will be stored here. 3, 4 will be stored here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, and 7, 8. So So when you do this, the answer should be 68AC, right? That is what we have seen. So when you do this, yeah, we get answer 68AC, right? Suppose we take some numbers which would generate a carry. Now, since it is only 68AC, there is no carry. So if I take some numbers which would generate carry, if I take a larger number, 48, 78, and here it should be large. Now it would generate carry, right? So what is the number here? 5648. 5648 plus the second number is 7878. Okay, plus 7878. The answer is CEC0. Still, it is not generating carry. We will take a much larger number. A, B. Okay, let us take these numbers. 7948. 7948 plus the second number is AB78. Okay, AB78. Now the answer is 124C0. So that one is the carry, then 24C0 will be in the other memory locations. I mean, so when I run this, sorry, yeah, 24C0 will be in the two registers A and B. No, sorry. Yeah, in these memory locations from A, they have been copied successively, 24C0, and then you get this 01, that is a carry. Yeah, so those numbers also won't generate carry because 7 plus 3 is A. It will not generate carry. It should be something more than 15 in decimal. Only then it will generate carry in hexadecimal, right? So here you can see there is the carry occupying this place in the memory location. So that carry, if you examine the PSW or the program status word, you can see that thing. Okay, at this juncture you cannot see the carry because this is after the execution of add C instruction. Okay, after add C instruction, that carry will be added with A and that will be occupying A. The result of the addition will not have carry in this case, but after this addition it was generating a carry, right? So then it would be 1. If you want to see it clearly, let me do it again step by step. So the first step is, yeah, move A, 20H, contents of 20H is copied into A, that is 48 is copied into A. Then add A, 22H, we have added 79 with 48. The sum is C0. Okay, along with the sum, the flags are also updated. There is an overflow to indicate the MSB of the answer is 1. Overflow flag will be 1 when MSB of the answer is 1, right? No, sorry, here in this case it will be 1 if at all during addition when there is a carry into the MSB and no carry out of the MSB, right? Or vice versa. That is the thing in overflow flag. So it was negative flag, which is 1 when MSB of the flag is 1. Then auxiliary carry flag when bit 3 is 1. Sorry, when bit 3 generates the carry, auxiliary carry flag is set, then the carry flag is 0. Here there is no carry from in this byte addition, there is no carry. So next we will take the other byte 21, that is 70. Yeah, this result is stored here. Next is 79 is taken. You are adding it with 79 is added with AB. In that case, there is a carry generated. You can see the carry is generated. So this carry, it will be added in the next time. You are clearing A will become 0. When A will become 0, it will be added with this carry and A will become 1 now. Okay. Now, yeah, carry will become 0, A will become 1. So that carry is reflected in your accumulator. From accumulator, you will copy that to 26H. Okay. So this was already executed, so you could see the answer before that. I just wanted to show you where the carry is generated and how it is copied from the carry flag into the accumulator. Okay. So this is about the 16-bit addition, wherein you need to perform that 16-bit addition using 8-bit additions, right? That is the only option you have in 8051 because you cannot perform 16-bit operations directly because it's an 8-bit microcontroller. Okay. Next, you have subtraction of two 16-bit numbers. So this is also similar. In 16-bit subtraction also, what you need to do is the same thing. That suppose you want to subtract two numbers. Okay, those numbers, I will take some other numbers. 8546 and yeah, this number. Okay. So what happens in this case? 46 is stored here, 85 is stored in the next location. Then 78 and 56, yeah, same numbers. Suppose this is the thing. First, in subtraction also same way, you subtract the lower bytes first, right? Then store the result. Then you subtract the higher bytes, then you store the result. So yeah, move a comma 20h. Instead of add, it is subtract. Okay, subtract with a borrow always. It is always SUBB because sometimes if at all there is a borrow, it will be considering that. Yeah, what happens actually? 46 minus 78. Yeah, let us see that. So this is not required. Okay. This is subtracting 20 contents of 20h with contents of 22h, storing the result in 24h. Then contents of 21h and 23h, then store the result in 25h. This is not required. Okay. Because that was used for carry. Here you don't get a carry. I will create a new file. Copy this, save it as subtraction of 16-bit.as. I will remove this, add this file. Okay, then one warning. Okay, end statement is missing. Okay. Yeah, what should be the answer now? The numbers that I had taken in the example were 8546, 8546 minus 5678. Okay, so if you try this in Calci, you'll get 8546 minus 5678. The result will be 2ECE. Okay, the result will be 2ECE. So let us see what we get in this case. Yeah, we are getting 2ECE. Right? So that is how it is done. 8546 minus 78. If you do 46 minus 78, it will be CE. Then you're subtracting 85 minus 56. 85 minus 56. With borrow. Okay, so if you try, have you got Calci with you? If you try 85 minus 56, you will get 2F. But in the answer, it is 2E. How you are getting this 2E is because in this particular subtraction, 46 minus 78, this CE indicates it is a negative number because MSB is 1. As you can see, 46 is a smaller number, 78 is a larger number. When you subtract larger number from a smaller number, you will get a negative answer. So the carry flag will be 1, right? So carry flag will be 1. So what subtraction instruction does is it will subtract first operand minus second operand minus the carry flag. If your carry flag is 0, it is minus 0. But if there is a carry flag, it will subtract 1 from that. That's why 85 minus 56, if you calculate in your calci, you'll get 2f, but that is subtracted minus 1. Okay, 1 is subtracted from that because this here you had a negative number. This here you subtracted a larger number from smaller number. So you have to subtract 1 again from the subtraction of these two numbers. That's why we get 2e here. Okay, because this is not simple subtract, it is subtract with a borrow always, SUBB, right? So that's why we are having 2ECE. So CE is stored in the first memory location, then 2E is stored in the next memory location. So this is how subtraction of 8 bits are done. Now suppose you subtract a smaller number altogether, a 16-bit number. If you subtract the opposite now, if you do 5678 minus 8546, what will you get? So you will get a negative number, right? You will get a negative number. To indicate the negative number, the carry flag will be set. Okay, so based on the carry flag, you can determine that the number is negative and the actual answer is the 2's complement of that, whatever the results are stored in the memory location. Okay, that is a way you can identify it. Otherwise, you can also copy FF in the next byte, like you have done in 8-bit instruction by checking the carry. If there is no carry, just skip. Otherwise, copy FFH in 26 in 26H. So that way also you can indicate, if at all there is a carry, you can store FFH in the next memory location to indicate that the result or the difference is negative. That happens only when you subtract a larger number from a smaller number. Okay, you can just leave it till here and find if the number is negative by looking at the carry flag. Okay, or you can include that. It's your wish. Okay, whatever you want, you can do it that way, but you should be knowing how to interpret the answer. Whatever answer you are getting, you should be able to explain the answer. Fine. So I think yeah, we are running short of time.